Hello, and welcome to today's morning movement mobility session, where we'll do about 20 to 30 minutes of gentle movement. All that you need is a yoga mat and some space, maybe a wall to hold on to or a chair. And we'll do all of our circuits 2 times through. We have 2 standing circuits and 1 floor circuit. So we'll get started with our first standing circuit. You're just gonna stand with your feet together on your mat, and we're doing alternating behind the back reaches. This is a great one for upper back and shoulder mobility. What we're gonna do is start with your hands here, and then reach your fingertips together behind your back, and then return your arms out to your side before switching to reach the other direction. What's important with this one is that you don't kind of really strain to reach your arms together. Just let them naturally reach as far as they can. This is one where you may especially notice that one side is a lot more mobile than the other. That's totally okay and very normal with myself, with my clients. So just reach those fingertips as far as is comfortable without really straining or jerking to get into that position. And just take your time with this. Even if you have to end here, that's okay. That's your range of motion and it will improve over time. So stay within whatever range of motion feels right for your shoulders today. Okay, last one on each side. And rest. Good. Second one, we're doing some ankle mobility. And this one is going to be a kind of dual movement. It'll be helpful if you hold on to something for a little balance because we're going to have one leg out in front of you lifted off of the ground. You're going to flex your foot, point your foot, then return to that semi-flex position, and then you're going to rotate your foot out and in. So it's point, flex, turn, turn. Point, flex, turn, turn. And so with this movement, I'm keeping it very kind of robotic. I'm not blending one movement into the other. And I'm trying not to have too much of the rotation come from my thigh. It is a little bit, but I'm really focusing on that turn being at the ankle and lower leg. And your thigh will twist a little bit with that, but we're largely trying to feel a little stretch in the ankle, especially as you turn the foot inwards. Last one for this side, and then switch. So it's point, flex, turn, turn. Point, flex, turn, turn. So you'll feel that calf engage just a little bit as well, especially with the pointing and the flexing. And then imagine your foot is like a windshield wiper and you're turning it to one side and the other. Again, taking your time. The ankles and the wrists are often places where we don't have a ton of coordination until we start to work on it. So if it feels kind of weird or you're not really sure if you're doing the movement right, just give yourself time to build that body awareness and proprioception at a joint where you might not be used to thinking about it. Last one for this side. All right, very good. Then we've earned a simpler one for our last one. We're just gonna do big arm circles. I'm gonna do these facing sideways just so I don't hit this back wall. But stand with your feet a few inches apart, engage your core a little bit, and then bring your arms in a big circle. We'll go backwards first. And so I'm really trying to feel all that rotation in my shoulder joint. I'm not pushing past a comfortable range of motion, but I am trying to really keep my arms close to my body, almost as if there were walls on either side of me, and they were getting smaller, and I have to try to stay tight within those walls. And then let's go forwards. Make sure you notice if you start to feel the urge to strain at your lower back. Just remind yourself to take away that arch by engaging the core. And I don't really care what direction your palms face on this one. Usually if you do whatever's natural, they'll find the right spot. I kind of go from rotating my palms outwards to facing down. And one more. And rest. Very good. All right, take a moment. We're going to go through this circuit one more time, starting with those alternating behind the back reaches. So feet together or almost together for this one. And then choose whatever side you want to start with, reaching that palm behind your head and reaching those fingertips as close as you can. Again, I do have clients who have to stop here at first. That's totally okay. Don't force that range of motion. Just comfortably reach those fingertips as close together as you can get them. It's even natural to tuck the chin just a little bit on this one. Make sure you're not straining the neck upwards. Just reach. Might notice that it feels a little bit more mobile the second time through. It's always nice when the body starts to get loosened up a little bit. Sometimes you can get a little more range of motion. We'll do one more on each side. And rest. Then we'll go back to our ankle mobility movements with the point flex and then turning side to side. I'll even show you a front view for this one. I'm pointing, flexing, and then turning my foot outward and then inward. Point, flex, outward, inward. And so my leg is turning a little bit at the thigh. You can kind of notice that's the only way we can get that movement, but I'm thinking about getting that stretch through the ankle. Point, flex, side, side. One more for this side. Point, flex, side, side. Good. And then the other side. Point, flex, side, side, flex, side, side. Good. Maybe seeing if you can get a little bit of extra range of motion with the point and the flex. And a little bit of extra range of motion with the external and internal rotation of that ankle. We'll do two more. Last one, point, flex, side, side. Very nice. Alrighty, and then returning to our last one for this first circuit, those big arm circles, starting with backwards, reaching those arms up, trying to keep them close to the body, but working in that comfortable range of motion. Feet are just a few inches apart and engaging that core as to not arch the lower back. It's totally okay if you notice there's kind of a sticking point at one of your shoulders where you have to kind of modify your range of motion and go out instead of back. Just work within whatever is comfortable, especially each day. It can be different day to day. All right, then let's reverse it. Bring the arms back, up, and then forward and down. If you want a little bit of extra posture work as you bring the arms back and up, think about squeezing your shoulder blades together. Make sure as you do that, the lower back doesn't arch. We're just squeezing the upper back, those shoulder blades together. And it helps support the movement as they lift upwards as well. One more. And rest. Nicely done. Then we'll head into our floor circuit, which is going to start in the hands and knees position. So make sure that you have a nice amount of cushion for the knees if you need it. You could double up your yoga mat or even add a pillow underneath the knees. And I'm going to start with my knees a little farther apart than normal. So usually we might have the knee directly underneath the hip, but we're going to go a little wider, not wider than a yoga mat width. And then I start with my hands underneath my shoulders as normal. Then here, make sure that you're not rounded or arched at the back. And then we're just going to shift the hips back towards the heels, like we're pushing into a child's pose. And then as soon as you reach your end range of motion, return to the start, even letting the hips finish a little bit further forward than the knees. And however far back you get depends on your body and your knees and their range of motion. And same with going forward. You have to support the weight on the shoulders and the hands. So just rock yourself slowly. That way you can feel where your limit for the range of motion is. Maybe it's all the way back on your heels. Maybe it's halfway. Maybe it's just a couple inches pushed back. And then forward, letting those hips come a little bit in front of the knees for a little bit of hip extension. We'll do one more of these, nice controlled speed here. And rest. Very good. All right, our second one, this whole circuit is going to be on the floor. Is going to be floor angels for our scapular mobility. So lay down with your knees bent and make sure your head is supported. And then we're going to start with your hands at a W position. So almost like field goal posts, but with elbows drawn in a little bit. And then we're going to reach the arms up overhead until your elbow is as straight as your arms will allow. And then pull them back down. You can either have the arms completely resting on the ground or just slightly lifted off the ground if you find that's a little bit more comfortable and less of a stretch for the chest. It might just be even more comfortable to have the arms a little bit off the ground depending on if you're on carpet or hardwood floors. And again, just reach up as far as your arms will let you before pulling them back down. Reaching up, making sure to breathe. And we'll do one more. And bring the arms back down. Very nice. Okay, then we're in position for our third one in this circuit. And so you're going to just straighten out one leg, and then with this other leg, grab a hold of the back of the hamstring or the front of the shin if that's comfortable. And we're just going to do a static hold here. So I'm just pulling the knee directly towards the chest. We're going to do two variations. And so again, if you need to be holding here, you certainly could, whatever's comfortable for you. And then now bring the knee just a little bit towards the outside of your body if that's comfortable. Opening up the hip. Again, using the hands to support that position. You could also use a strap or a band if need be. Bring that knee back in. And then place it down and we'll get the other side. So bring both knees in. Straighten one out, lift this leg and pull it towards you, grabbing either the hamstring or your shin. First, tucking it to your chest, taking a big breath in, and letting it out. Then bring that knee to the outside of the body. We're not trying to go too far here, so don't feel any pressure to really bring it close to the ground or far out to the side. Just move it a little bit towards the outside of the body until you feel a little stretch on your hip flexors, your adductors, and then bring that knee back in and set it down and bring your other knee back up. Very nice. Now we'll go through this circuit one more time. So coming back up to that hands and knees position, nice cushioned surface for the knee. Have your knees a little wider than normal. Let's start with your hands right underneath your elbows, underneath your shoulders. And then with a flat back, you're just gonna reach the hips back. Again, we're keeping a slow pace for this one, so don't be tempted to go really fast or use momentum. We're controlling the movement and bringing the hips a little bit in front of the knees at the top. This is one where you might hear some creaks or some pops. As long as there's no pain with those, that's totally fine. Just the body working out the kinks. If this position did irritate the hands, you could fold up a towel and put it underneath the heel of the hand. Or you could even hold on to dumbbells for a more neutral wrist position. For this last one, focus on your breath. Inhale as you reach back. And exhale as you come all the way forward. Very nice. And comfortably find your way back onto lying on your back with your knees bent to start. And then have a nice supported head position. I'll give you a moment to get here. And then we're starting in that W position with your hands. And maybe this time start off trying to keep those arms as close to the floor as you can as you reach up overhead, straightening out at the elbow and pulling those elbows back in. And for this one, I have most of my back resting on the ground. I'm not forcing my spine into the floor like we would for a dead bug or certain core exercises, but I'm not arching at the lower back. I just have essentially the same flat position that I would have if I was in the hands and knees position we were just in, but flipped over onto your back. Again, straightening at the top, so hands are straight over elbows, straight over shoulders. Always aiming for that joint stacking when possible. It's okay if your hands need to be a little bit off of the floor. Good. And that was your last one, so when you make it back down, you can rest. Alrighty. Then choose whichever leg you're wanting to start with. For our one leg tuck, straighten out the other leg and either grip on to that hamstring or grab the shin and just comfortably hold that knee, pulling it towards your chest gently. Take a breath in and out. Then bring your knee and your foot with it towards the outside of the body to open up that hip. Maybe letting yourself bring it a little wider than you did last time, but again, we're not trying to get that knee to rest on the ground. Just bringing it a little bit wider than it was before. And then bringing it back to the center of the body. Give it a little tug, and then trade legs. Straighten that one out. Tuck the other one in, pull that knee towards your chest. Take a breath in and out. Then bring that knee wide. Just let it gently be a mix of the knee falling towards the side while keeping it secured with that grip. Then bring it back in, give it a little tug, and then place it back down. All right, 2 circuits down, 1 to go. We're coming back to a standing position for our last circuit. I really like this first exercise that we have. It's going to be a squat to hip lift. And we're going to stand with our feet about shoulder width apart. And then we're going to squat down. And so for a squat, we want to make sure that our knees stay in line with our toes and our butt goes back. This doesn't have to be a very low squat, so just lower down as far as is comfortable. And then we're going to lift up the hips and then return to standing. So it's essentially like we're combining a squat and a hip hinge before we come back to the top. And so I'm trying to show you not a huge range of motion at the squat, just about halfway down, and then I can still push those knees and hips back to get that nice hip hinge hamstring stretch before coming back to the top. And so really make sure that your spine stays nice and supported with the core. It's not going into an arch. This is a little bit more complex movement, but even just trying it is a really good mobility and coordination brain challenge. A little squat, push to the hinge, and come back up. One more, squat, hinge, and back to the top. Very nice. Alrighty, and then our second one, we're gonna do a little bit of neck mobility. And so just standing with your feet a few inches apart, you can have your hands by your sides, on your hips, wherever's comfortable. We're gonna look over one shoulder and then the other, and then we're gonna look up. So we're doing these 3 ranges of motion. One shoulder, the other shoulder, and up. And make sure with lifting the neck up and down, be conservative, especially if you know that you don't have a ton of neck strength to start. I got good feedback that a couple of you appreciated the neck stretches in the chair yoga or chair mobility session that we did. And it really is such a functional movement to be able to look over your shoulder when driving a car and to kind of work out those neck muscles that often are just really tight, but not always from use, sometimes just from holding tension. So again, take this one slow and keep the range of motion small to meet your body where it is right now. And then rest. All right, and then our third one is going to be alternating overhead reaches with a little rotation. So I'm going to stand with feet about shoulder width apart and one hand starting with my thumb at my shoulder. Then I'm going to reach up and over. Then I'm going to twist forward a little bit, twist back, and then return to the start. So I'm reaching, then rotating, returning, and coming back down. Reach, rotate, back, and down. So you should feel a little stretch in the side, and then a little bit more stretch, even having that going into your oblique on the back side of your torso as you rotate. We'll do one more for this side. Reach, rotate, back, and down. And then we'll see how it feels on that other side. Thumb at shoulder, reach up, rotate, rotate, and back. And that rotation isn't a huge rotation, it's just a little bit. And think about feeling it in those muscles all along the side of your rib cage and the side of your torso. Rotate and back. Reach first, rotate, return to start. One more, reach, rotate, and return to the start. Very good. All right, we're going to do those 3 exercises one more time and then you'll be done. So the first one is that funky squat hip lift. So give this one another try. Let yourself figure it out a little bit more. Going to stand with feet shoulder width apart. Then I'm squatting, down, hips lift up, and then back to standing tall. Squat down, push the knees and hips back, then stand tall. Keeping that spine nice and straight. You want to be looking to feel a little bit of a hamstring stretch when you push the knees back. Squat, hinge, back tall one more time. Squat, hinge, and back to the start. Very nice. All right, then back to our neck mobility. Standing just with feet a couple inches apart, we're gonna look over one shoulder and then the other, and then look up and back to center. Side, side, and up. Good. It's good for your eyes to follow wherever your head is going on this one. That not only helps with not feeling dizzy at all, but often helps us get even a little bit more range of motion when we have our eyes follow where our body is going. Good. Going at your own speed for this one. Side, side, up, and back to center. One more time. Side, side, up, and back to center. Very good. Alrighty, and our last one is going to be those overhead reaches. And so choose whatever side you want to start with, putting that thumb at your shoulder, feet about shoulder width apart so we have a nice solid base. Then I'm reaching, twist, back, and down. Reach, rotate, back, and down. So that reach is just going directly overhead and to the side a little bit. And then we get to move into that other plane as we twist forward. Reach, rotate, rotate back and down. One more for this side. Reach, rotate, back, and down. Very good. Then let's finish it out on the other side. Reach, rotate. Very good. And so as always, hopefully this mobility has you feeling loosened up, ready to take on the day, feeling just a little bit more mobile and flexible, or it has you ready to do a little bit of strength training, maybe has that range of motion opened up for squats with a little bit of weight, or a chest press with your shoulders opened up, or even just going into some cardio. But really, this is a great way to just have your body primed and ready for a little bit more exercise. Or if this is what feels good today, that is wonderful as well. Last one, reach, rotate, and back to start. Alrighty, well, thanks for joining me today for this session. If you want more educational information, go find me over on Instagram at HelloStrengthSeniors and let me know if you enjoyed today's session. And we will see you next week for more morning movement and mobility.